morning, this is Brian. Today is Tuesday, December 19th, 2023, and I'm here in Anza-Borrego Desert State Park with another hike planned for the day. Today's hike, I'm planning on hiking up to Grapevine Mountain. That parking area down there is called the Scissors Crossing Trailhead, right off of 78. Little zigzag pattern. So what I'm trying to do right now is find the Pacific Crest Trail. So I'm kind of just hiking over this open spot here, trying to find the PCT. So hopefully I can find that soon. I can start this hike. So that's the Scissors Crossing Trailhead. It's one of the trailheads in the area that gets you onto the PCT. Again, like I said, I'm trying to find it. Trying to see if I can find where it is. I'm hoping to find it soon. And since this is a desert hike, should be a very interesting botanical day for me, as I do have a learning curve. I'm hoping this is the PCT here, but I'm not sure. This might be just a little gulch. So what I'm supposed to do is follow the Pacific Crest Trail for roughly about 2 miles, and then I'm supposed to go up a gully and then eventually top out on the ridge. So yeah, not sure if this is it or not. It's hard to see. It's hard to tell. Right now I'm just hiking cross country in the desert. But today, get ready for some interesting botanical features, since I really don't get much desert hiking in. And I can already tell this is going to be full of interesting stuff. I don't think I'm at the PCT yet. I'm trying to find where it is. I think that's the challenge using this trailhead here. You're supposed to walk up over that berm over there. The challenge is trying to find the Pacific Crest Trail. That's kind of the challenge right now, is finding where it is. This is going to be interesting. Trying to find the PCT, so I don't know if I was on it. Momentarily I will start botanizing, but until then I want to find out where my trail is. I'm not going to follow this gully for a short while and see if I can find it. Oh boy. I didn't think finding the PCT was going to be this complicated. Alright. So I know what's going to do is going to wind its way around the lower south slopes of Grapevine Mountain. And then eventually I'm going to have to leave the trail, provided I can find the trail, that is, and then work my way up a gully to a ridge and kind of head in a north to northeasterly direction to get to the peak. I am not seeing the Pacific Crest Trail. Yeah, this is going to be cute trying to find this today. I mean, it's a trail, so it should be pretty well defined. Again, there's so much here to look at botanically, but I'm waiting until I find the trail before I start doing any botanizing. I'll go up there. It might be up there, hopefully. I'll check in momentarily. Find. Wandering up this further and further, I can't find a trail at all. It's just a little worrisome. I want to stick as closely to my plan as possible climbing this. I don't see any sign of the Pacific Crest Trail at all. I think it'd be this far away. And there's definitely no trail on the side here. I would probably be able to notice it from here, but there's absolutely no trail from here. I guess I'm gonna have to go down and explore a little bit and see if I could find it. This is kind of off to an inauspicious start. Been having a lot of trouble the last couple weeks getting my hiking accomplished. I've been seeing a lot of old videos, or old clips I made into hiking videos from a few years ago. Last week, tried to go on a small hike near where I lived, and that ended up being a bust because of a mix-up on Google Earth. So after a while, I just gave up and didn't want to waste more gas money. And then the week before that was the week I went to Mount Laguna, but I wanted to go up San Ysidro Mountain. So right now, this is off to a pretty inauspicious start as well. I'm gonna have to go down there and see if I can find the trail from down there. Otherwise, I'm not familiar enough with this area to just climb up a random gully and hope for the best. I'd rather be smart about this instead of blindly going in and trying to climb up to a peak I don't know too well. Alright. This is very inauspicious. So I guess I gotta do is watch around, and hopefully I could find it down there again. I'll keep you posted on my progress. Worst comes to worst, I might end up just doing botany videos over here and pointing out the insane beautiful botany over here. Well, my second attempt to find the trail so far had proven a failure again, but I can see what looks like a trail over there, so I'm gonna have to work my way over there because I don't see it anywhere around on this side. So I could see what looks like the Pacific Crest Trail over there, so I think I'm gonna have to climb up the gully or something to get to it. Honestly, this is getting frustrating. I've been having a lot of bad luck with getting good hikes in lately. It's kind of getting a little aggravating. But I think I see it over there, so I think I'm going to do is I'm just going to follow this ridge right up here. Not the one in the background. I can see what looks like a trail up there. So I'm just going to go to this ridge in the foreground and climb up that. I just don't know why it's so hard to find from here. I did look at Google Earth to try to see about that, but I just don't know why it seems to be so hard to find the trail. I came back through here after my first failed attempt. Looking at that post, hopefully having a sign or something there, but it just says no vehicles. I'm gonna start this. I'm gonna go back up this wash, and then I'm gonna try to gain that ridge there. Let's see what looks like a trail over there. Boy, just finding the trail is an adventure. I'm gonna be doing quite a bit of off-trail hiking later, but I'm using the trail to get me to my gully/ridge climb So at least I have a nice navigational aid along the way. And like I said, don't worry, I will be botanizing today. You can pretty much guarantee that because there's a lot of stuff here. Some stuff I need to actually bust out the field guide for. So I guess what I have to do is hike up this and then work my way up this ridge here. Because where it looks like it seems to plateau is where there seems to be an actual defined trail. So I went up one of these slopes here, went up about 100, 150 feet, not seeing anything, and thinking to myself, why am I not finding it? All right. Well, let's see what I can do here. Finally got to the PCT. Finally got to a well-defined trail after all that poking around. So I did is went up one of these gullies here for a while. Figured, okay, I'm not seeing it. Went down. Started going that way. Again, actually started going down that way a little bit. Didn't see anything, and then I went back to that little wash down there. Again, didn't see anything. So then I saw what looked like a trail up here. So I just cut across that wash, went to the base of this hill, and just started climbing up off trail. And I'm finally on the PCT. So now I'm going to be heading this way on the PCT. I'm not sure if this is northbound or southbound, to be honest with you. The PCT curves around a lot. But I can also see the trail up there. I bet you if I had kept climbing for a while more, I probably would have found it. So it's got to be a use trail that leads to it. This is a trailhead. But again, the PCT doesn't come right up against Scissors Crossing trailhead. You kind of have to look for it up the hill a little bit. That'll definitely get me warmed up for what's going to be a fair amount of off-trail hiking later on, which I'm all for it. But if I'm taking a trail to get to a cross-country turnoff, I'd like to be able to find that trail. It would be nice. All right, so we're starting off the day on a very extremely interesting botanical note, especially since I don't make it out to the desert very often. And this is one of our most commonly known plants of the desert, especially the Colorado and Mojave and Sonoran deserts. Creosote bush, Larea tridentata. And then we got Senegalia greggi, the cat claw acacia, and it's going dormant, so it's showing a little tiny bit of fall color. It's going deciduous for winter. And then I'm going to be hitting up my field guides for what kind of choyas we have here. I see one phenotype, or one type here that seems to be predominant. I'm wondering if this is Cylindra puntia gandri. So I should probably look it up pretty soon. And in fact, I'm going to look it up really quickly right now while I'm here. Ooh, and we got desert deer broom here. This is Acmispon glaber variety breviolatus. It actually has a few blooms on it. It's got the little short wings on it. So yeah, this is desert deer broom. Closer to the coast where I live in more coastal side of San Diego County. This one's replaced by the coastal deer broom, which is Acmispon glaber variety glaber, but this is variety breviolatus. Actually has a couple blooms on it too. It's pretty interesting. And yes, yep, I'm going to be botanizing today as I see lots of plants that I am not yet familiar with. So let the interesting day begin. Now I'm on trail, I'm feeling a lot more relaxed and not so agitated trying to find it. Let's do this. All right, so yeah, I've been just kind of double checking to see what some of these plants are, especially with the choyas. And yes, definitely appears to be Lytrapuntia ganderi variety gander choya. Seems to be our most common choya in this area. And then here's a plant I'm seeing for the first time ever, and that's blackbush. This is Coleogene ramosissima. I believe that's what this is. Kind of looks a little bit like a stunted chamise or buckwheat, but I believe that's blackbush right there. So there's going to be a lot of time to botanize on this hike. Roughly going to be about a 6.5 mile hike, and if my voice sounds all jacked up, it's because having a cough lately again. Second time since mid-November, and it's kind of irritating actually. So yeah. All right. Well, here's a common site here in, well, this is what we call the Colorado Desert. We're just at a higher elevation here. We're definitely a little bit above 2,000 feet, but we're going to be climbing up to nearly 4,000 feet on top of Grapevine. But this is Mojave yucca, of course, right here, Yucca scadigera. And there's quite a bit of that around here too. And this plant pops up pretty much in nearly every biome except for yellow pine forest and subalpine forest. It appears in coastal sage scrub, chaparral, low and high desert, and in pinyon juniper woodland, well above 6,000 feet. So that's a plant you're going to be seeing pretty much anywhere here in Southern California except for the highest pine forests. And then there's Engelmann hedgehog right there, Caenocereus engelmannii, variety engelmannii. So yeah, it looks like we're going to be off to a good start. And speaking of cactus, there's our desert barrel cactus, and that is Phaerocactus cinelandraceus. And I believe this is Dudleya saxosa variety aloides, I believe. Some type of desert type of Dudleya. So yeah, and then Mojave buckwheat right here, Eriogonum fasciculatum variety pulifolium. There's a lot of stuff to see here. And look at that Mojave yucca, had a nice little, almost Joshua tree-like trunk. And there's a type of ephedra here too, I could tell. I'm gonna have to maybe look that one up a little bit later. And there's some other stuff I'm definitely gonna be pointing out. You saw the camera looking down at it. And what do we got? Is this interior golden bush? Looks like Erica Maria linearifolia, I believe. Okay. And then yes, these plants with the big stalks. These are desert agaves. And here we go. Agave deserti, variety deserti. It's one of at least 2 varieties of this plant that grow here in California. Ours is variety deserti, so it's agave deserti, variety deserti. But if you go towards the Mojave National Preserve, there's another variety simplex, which is called the simple desert agave, which I don't believe I've ever seen before. And then, continuing on with the Botany Fest, yeah, I'm trying to get some of this belted out now, because later on I'll be doing route finding. And we got pancake prickly pear, and this is Opuntia chlorotica. Always wanted to see this. I've never seen this one before, but here it is. It has those very distinctly rounded pads, very similar to the Opuntia auricola, the chaparral or oracle prickly pear, and that's found by the coast. This one is a is a desert plant, and sometimes you can find this, I think, up to at least 6,000 feet in elevation, so it's a pretty wide elevational range. So, and then I am seeing Parrish's bush sunflower right here. This is Bahiopsis parrishi, and this is a relative of the coastal one, Bahiopsis laciniata, in coastal and foothill San Diego County. So this is another species of Bahiopsis. Again, seeing for the first time today. So, a lot of firsts for me here today on the trail. So, yeah, this definitely is turning out to be an extremely interesting morning already. But yeah, oh yeah, look at this. Nice, beautiful Mojave yucca clumps. Yeah, this is just awesome. I love it. Oh yeah. Absolutely awesome out here. First desert hike, true desert hike, since I did East Ord Mountain in the Mojave Desert back in March of 2019. So it's my first desert hike. Oh, and we have another type of cholla here too. Cylindropuntia bigelovii, teddy bear cholla. Okay. I don't know if I was going to expect to see that one over here, but it is definitely a desert cholla, so yeah, awesome. And I just got myself caught up on this Senegalia greggi. So when I break off the trail later, I'm going to really have to watch out, because there's a lot of catclaw acacia up here. And of course, I believe this is Anza-Borrego farinosa, brittlebush. There are a couple other species of Anza that are found out here in the desert, so caution is advised before taking my 100% word for it. But yeah, this is a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful slope here. There's a bigger catclaw right there. Yeah, I did get scraped up by one already, and I was on the trail. Yeah, look at all the agaves over here. Wow. Yeah, get the impression this is going to be a very long video today. Be prepared in advance. Be prepared in advance. I am. Because I'm going to be talking plants and, of course, route finding later. I'm on this for probably about a mile to 2 miles, probably about 2 miles before I find this massive gully system. I'm going to leave the trail to climb later. Until then, I'm just going to enjoy botanizing on the trail. All right, well, snap a few pictures and I'll keep on climbing this and I'll check in. Ah, here's a nice big creosote bush. Wow. It's a nice big one. Sometimes these things get huge. I've seen some get about 10 feet tall. But man, this is so awesome. It's a nice change of pace from what I normally do. Chaparral or conifer forest. Or sometimes coastal canyons. Look at that desert barrel cactus. How beautiful are these plants? I'm hoping I get in some spotlight videos today. There's a lot to spotlight out here. Preferably I like to do stuff when plants are in bloom or in fruit, but I don't know if I can really pass up the opportunity to spotlight stuff I don't get to see very often. I love these desert agaves. They're just so absolutely stupendously beautiful. And I don't see any right here, but further up on the hill, I even saw some ocotillos up there too. And there's the Scissors Crossing trailhead right there. That right there is 78. And those over there, those are the Vulcan Mountains right there. Much different environment than down here. Down there are some old Fremont cottonwoods. They're pretty much leafless for winter. In fact, the winter solstice is in a couple more days. So it's coming up pretty soon. And right there is big, bad granite mountain. 5,633 feet. Definitely was almost considering a climb up that as well. But yeah, I think I want to get some more rigorous hiking in before I attempt that. That's going to be a lot of gully and ridge climbing. Pretty much off trail pretty much the whole time. So now, basically what's going to happen is I'm going to be going through a huge gully system, and I got to look for a couple washes that branch off kind of on the right. And what I got to do is start, that's where I'm going to be going off trail and doing a major, that's when I'm going to start doing the major climb of the day. I'm probably going to work my way up north. I looked at some of the trip reports and GPSs on Peak Bagger, and most people come to this massive gully, and there are two forks, one really big one branching off to the northeast and one of them branching off to the north. Most people take the north branching gully, so I'm probably going to do the same. All right, here's another plant right here. This is goatnut or jojoba. This is Simonsia chinensis. I've seen this one a few times. We did a spotlight video on it near the town of Aguanga, near the Riverside and San Diego County line, near the town of Aguanga, on 79, just south of the junction of the 371 that takes you up towards Anza. All right, what do we have here? It looks like we got ourselves a desert apricot, I believe. Oh no, not so sure about that one. I'll have to double check this one. Usually those have broader leaves. I'll have to double check on this one. Yeah, I have a bigger learning curve out here because I don't experience desert hiking very often, so there's stuff I'm definitely going to have to look up. I'm going to have to get a picture of that. It still has a few leaves on it. It's mostly dormant for winter, but it does have a few leaves, so I might be able to cross-reference it. All right, so I was starting to think in the back of my mind, this is definitely not desert apricot. This is not Prunus fremontii. It doesn't look like a rose family type of plant. So my next thought was, could this be desert jujube? Ziziphus perrii variety perrii. Boom! This is desert jujube. Ziziphus perrii variety perrii. I've seen maybe one specimen over near Pinion Flats between the Santa Rosa and San Jacintos. I think I've seen it over there before. And it had fruit on it, so I knew it was a desert jujube. This one didn't, and being that it's been over 7 years since I've seen it, didn't remember a lot about it. But yeah, this is in the buckthorn family, and it's related to the edible jujube, Ziziphus jujube, and this is in the buckthorn family, the Rhamnaceae, so it's also related to our ceanothus, and our coffee berries, and our spiny and hollyleaf red berries too. So yeah, this is related. This is in the genus Ziziphus, just like the edible one that you find in people's yards, which are small trees with very similar colored bark, and this is very spiny, so be careful if you reach in there to look at a leaf. This doesn't have fruit on it, so it didn't stand out right away. But as I was passing by it in my previous clip thinking, oh, I wonder if this is Prunus fremontii. And then I had to really get a good look at it, and it just didn't have the leaf structure of the broader leaves of Prunus fremontii. So yeah, that's desert jujube. So it's a good thing. Really glad I brought the field guide. I had to for this one. So yeah, the botany just keeps getting more interesting as I've done this very short walk on this trail. So let's see what else is going to come up. I'm pretty sure some more interesting stuff's going to come up. I just know it. I felt it as soon as I got out of the car. I got here when it was still pretty dark out, so I sat around and waited for a few minutes and poked around. I just knew when I saw some plants down this little dip right by the trailhead, I knew this was going to be an interesting day. I knew this was not going to disappoint. And by golly gee, it's not. Here's some more of that black bush right here. It's supposed to be more common in, I think, the Mojave Desert, I believe. But it's here too. Very awesome stuff here. Very awesome stuff. All right, well, maybe shoot a few photos and taking this very gentle trail. Most of my elevation gain is going to come when I break off the trail. So this is going to be a pretty easy cruisy portion here. It's very slightly uphill. When I leave the trails where it's all the hardcore stuff's going to happen. So yeah. All right. Let's keep enjoying this beautiful hike here in Anza-Borrego Desert State Park. Okay, looks like the next level of botanical interest is about to come into view. These bad boys right here. These are ocotillos. Folkwearia splendens, subspecies splendens. Yes, indeed. Since it's been dry lately, they're leafless. These are drought deciduous shrubs. I believe they're in their own family, the Folkweariaceae. These get up to maybe about 20-25 feet tall, maybe. These are more like large shrubs. But you can tell the bark on these branches has green. So these plants can photosynthesize during the middle of the dry periods, which are very frequent here in the Colorado desert. This is a mostly lower elevation plant, below 3,500 feet. Once you get just enough rain in the soil, these plants will produce a crop of small oval shaped leaves. And in the springtime, the tips of those branches are covered in absolutely beautiful reddish flowers. And I've been lucky to catch sight of that before. It's a plant I don't get to come around very often, but it's definitely a treat. I've seen it in March and along Interstate 8, near Interstate 8 in the little community of Ocotillo. Not to be confused with Ocotillo Wells in San Diego County, but Ocotillo, southwestern Imperial County. So yeah, this trail is doing some switchbacks. Look at this. Just look at the scenery here. Gosh. This is why I love hiking mountains. Because of this. Canyons and gullies and peaks and ridges. Vegetation. Yeah, this is wild. I love this. The desert barrel cactus plants get much larger down there. Here's that teddy's bear cholla. Right there. Cylindra puntia bigelovii. These can get up over your head. They look cuddly and plush, but they're not. Those things are fierce. The baby desert agave. But yeah, this is a plant you don't want to hug like a teddy bear. It looks cuddly, but it ain't. Spines and glockets are fierce on those buggers. Those spines provide at least two, actually probably multiple, probably at least three functions. A, to protect the plants from herbivory, so their watery succulent tissue doesn't get damaged by animals. B, the spines are thick and dense enough and long enough to actually provide some shade for the stems. And another function is they can grab onto any furry animal or person, pants or legs that walk by. It can become detached, and that little stem that becomes detached will fall to the dirt and take root and form a genetically identical clone of its parent, and doesn't have to rely on producing fruits and seeds. With the unreliable rains in the desert climate, you got to do what you got to do to procreate. And if making a bunch of genetically identical clones is a way you can spread your population, that's what you got to do. Absolutely phenomenally beautiful here. Feels good to do some desert hiking. Yeah, beautiful. These right here, I'm not touching this thing. These right here are the fruits. I don't know if they're going to have viable seeds. I've heard that a lot of choyas don't produce a high number of viable seed. I don't know how true it is for teddy bear choya or for gander choya, but it's just interesting to think about. All right. So yeah, definitely got some more Ocotillo action here too. So yeah, what a beautiful hike this is. I'm just stoked beyond words right now. All right, well, time to stop yapping and keep on walking. Not that much further along in my walk, the next species of cactus comes into view. Now we got our typical variant of beavertail cactus. This is Opuntia basilaris, variety basilaris. Yet another species of awesome cactus here in this absolutely gorgeous region. There's another type of prickly pear that I saw down by the wash. I was wondering if it was Engelmann prickly pear. The Opuntia engelmannii, variety engelmannii. However, and this is it right here, this is what I was looking at. But I would expect the spines to be a little smaller, but this might be Engelmann prickly pear cactus right here. I believe this is Opuntia engelmannii, variety engelmannii. I was wondering if it was also brown spine, but I don't think brown spine grows here. I'm not sure. That's Opuntia fiacantha. And here comes the next level of botanical interest. Every time I turn around, I find another plant. California juniper. Juniperus californica. So we have that here too. I would have expected a little bit higher up, towards 3,000 feet. But no, we got California juniper growing here too. So we do have a conifer here. And these ephedras, these are gymnosperms, so they're not true conifers, but they're related to conifers distantly. So here we go. Juniperus californica. And there's a little berry-like cone. So we got California juniper making an appearance over here as well. Very nice. We're on a north-facing, I think we're on a northwest-facing slope right now. So it's a little lusher with vegetation. Wow. All right. I thought I saw a desert agave that had flowers on it somewhere off on the side somewhere. Kind of has yellowish, looked like it had yellowish stalks on it. I'll have to keep my eye out for that. I wouldn't expect it to be blooming this time of year. But as we come up this, looks like pretty soon we're going to be doing some switchbacks. This is an incredibly beautiful place. This is an absolutely amazing place. Beautiful. Got a little conifer action today too. Can't go wrong with that. Here in the Colorado section of the Sonoran Desert. The Colorado Desert related to the Sonoran Desert. Okay. Keep on going. see what else I find. Here's one thing I really love about these some of these desert mountains. These beautiful, steep, precipitous gullies. Wow, is this beautiful. Oh man. This is insanely beautiful. So the trail's doing a little, I say a gully corner here. So this is where I came. That's where I'm heading. Looks like there's a little lookout up there. Wow, this is so dope. Oh, this is so incredibly awesome. I really can't. I keep saying that and keep saying that. But that's just how I feel about this. Oh, some people don't really like desert hiking. Some people don't. And, you know, everybody has his or her own taste. That's fine. I just love the incredible diversity of Southern California's landscapes. If you look over there on that ridge of I believe that's the summit of Vulcan Mountain right there, I believe. That's Banner Canyon right there. But from here, from my perspective, I can see some of the coniferous trees, likely incense cedars and coulter pines, on that lush rain trap. And what I mean by rain trap is the moisture gets wrung out over those mountains, leaving this area bone dry. So again, talk about diversity of landscapes. And then of course on Granite Mountain, it's supposed to be a pinyon juniper. Well, I think single leaf pinions grow up on that one, from what I understand. It's supposed to be a pinyon, either a pinyon woodland or a pinyon juniper woodland. Probably with, I think Perianolina probably grows up there, I would imagine. So, and then over that way is a nice beautiful oak and conifer forest. When it snows there in the winter, it gets a lot more rain than this area does. Just mere miles away. Again, diversity of landscapes, really what make this interesting. So it looks like we're going to be doing a switch back around this ridge here. So we'll see. Here's another view of this gorgeous canyon. Wouldn't be surprised if the vegetation gets denser higher up, but we'll see. All right, away I keep going. All right, it's time for the next stop on the botanical tour of today. Now we got desert ground cherry right here. This is Physalis crassifolia. It's not a true cherry. It's not in the rose family. This is actually related to the tomatillos, the tomatoes, and the nightshades, the eggplants. This is in the nightshade family, the Solanaceae. See, it has these bladdery calices that cover the fruit. The calices come from the flowers when the flowers are blooming. And then what happens is the fruit gets surrounded like a tomatillo. I don't believe these are edible, like the tomatillos, so don't go picking these off and munching on them. But just like the tomatillo, you get a little papery calyx that surrounds the fruit and the seeds inside the fruit. That's another plant I've seen for the first time today. There's another species of Physalis, and I think that's ivy leaf ground cherry, but that's more on the foothill side of the mountains, and that's supposed to be pretty uncommon. And that's Physalis hederifolia variety fenleri or something like that. But yeah, that was desert ground cherry, another first for me today. And I've always wanted to see one of those. Those things are just I was just so interested in just seeing different varieties of plants, and that's just the next thing that just made my day all that more interesting. As I get ready to round yet another one of these crazy gullies here. So I know when I was coming up from the other side of the ridge, I had noticed what looked like agaves in bloom in December. Well, right there, you can see the yellow right there. That's a desert agave in bloom in December. I was thinking I saw another one on the other side of this ridge, and I was thinking to myself, nah, that can't be blooming. It's December, for crying out loud. And then I saw it again. I was like, it is, and yet there's another desert agave in bloom. So, what other crazy, awesome finds am I going to come across today? This has just been an absolute delight. I'm not even on the hard part yet. I'm still on the PCT. I'm still on the Pacific Crest Trail. I haven't broken off the trail yet. There's another ground cherry right there. And another one right here. So that's Physalis crassifolia. See a nice little population of them over here. And another Engelmann hedgehog right there. There's so much going on botanically here. I'm gonna have to research what that is. That's definitely a don't know situation. I almost feel like I almost forget that I'm actually hiking in a desert. There's actually a lot of beautiful vegetation here. But then again, the times I've been through the desert, I've always seen lots of beautiful vegetation, even in areas where it's sparse. Really beautiful here. I believe that right there is Centenac Mountain. I was almost considering doing that later yesterday, but I don't think I'm going to go for that today. But that's definitely something I'd like to come back and do, especially when the weather stays cooler. Because it's been an incredibly warm December. It's been in the 80s on at least 4 or 5 occasions, I think. And it's been very warm this month. I think in Borrego Springs today, it's still supposed to be like about 75, I think. So up here, I'm assuming it'll probably be close to 70, maybe low 70s later, maybe high 60s, because we're a bit higher up. The top of this mountain is 3,955 feet. There's another nearby peak, an unnamed peak nearby, peak 3831, I believe. Might consider going for that depending on how much energy I have. But I have a feeling very soon it's going to be leaving the trail time. So, we'll see. See more up the way. I believe I'm coming close to my ascent gully. Oh yeah, we're getting more junipers again. We're on a shadier slope here. Thus, lusher vegetation. And we're a little bit higher up than before. I'd say we probably climbed about 600 or so feet. It's close to 600, maybe 700 feet. Doesn't feel like it though. It's been a very, very easy trail walk. Of course, I know that's about to come to an end very soon. I believe I'm coming up on the major gully. Should be in there, I believe. You can see the trail winding around there. Looks like it's going to start sloping downhill. But I'm going to get to the base of a pretty decent gully system. And that's where I'm going to officially leave the trail and start my cross-country hike. Wow. This is an awesome experience. Now it's about to get tough because I got to climb up a gully, climb up a ridge. So the real steep stuff is about to begin very soon, actually. So we'll see. All right. I knew as soon as I rounded this bend and started seeing lusher vegetation, I knew things were about to get very interesting again. And sure enough, they did. This is Prunus fremontii, the desert apricot. Prunus fremontii. We got a few deciduous types of prunus here. You've seen my videos in the higher mountains. I talk about western choke cherry, Prunus virginiana variety demissa, and then you hear me talking about Prunus emarginata, the bitter cherry, and of course the evergreen hollyleaf cherry, Prunus ilicifolia, subspecies ilicifolia. But we have a couple more species of Prunus here in Southern California as well. And this is Prunus fremontii. This is the desert apricot. And there's another species, and I was kind of wandering around a little bit when it was still kind of dark before heading up here. Could have sworn I saw desert almond too, Prunus fasciculata variety fasciculata. When I get back to the trailhead later, I'm going to go poke around there and confirm. I'm pretty sure it was. So we have this right here. This is the desert apricot. Now I'm not sure what the edibility is of it, and even if it is edible, which, like I said, I would do my due research before picking them off. I think they're supposed to be very dry. Probably not very palatable. But yes, you'll see these along Banner Grade too, along 78 when you're dropping down from Julian, heading towards Banner, bending through the Banner area. You'll see a ton of these on the side of the highway. So yeah, we got, yes, Prunus fremontii. Looks like we got a lot of galls, a lot of leaf galls on these here. But yeah, I believe they're winter deciduous, or at least partially winter deciduous. But yeah, the leaves are a little bit broader. See on the Prunus fasciculata, variety fasciculata, the desert almond, the leaves are really narrow and they're clustered, hence the name fasciculata. This one's named after explorer John C. Fremont. There's a lot of plants that are named fremontii. So yeah, this is desert apricot, and the leaves are kind of similar to the regular apricot trees that people plant in their orchards and their yards for fruit. Kind of similar, but much smaller. So we're going to get ready to round this wash here. I'm wondering if this is where I'm going to be leaving the trail. Very interesting stuff here. Here's another desert jujube. Hoping to see one with fruit on it. That'd be, oh yes, here we go. There's your desert jujube fruit right there. So again, this is Ziziphus perrii variety perrii, desert jujube. Very interesting. Very interesting. These little canyons and gullies sometimes get some pretty lush vegetation. All right, I'm gonna go step around this cat claw. And here we go, another parish bush sunflower, Baiopsis parishii. Love to get a spotlight on that, but I'd have to come here when it's flowering. Okay, so I'm thinking this is where I'm going to leave the trail. So this is that major gully system. It looks like this way would be pretty rough. This way, I don't know. I think this is where I'm going to leave the trail. Let's see. So right here, right in this lush spot, I think is where I'm supposed to leave it. After that last zigzag of switchbacks. So I'm going to be hiking up this wash, and this is where the hiking is about to get pretty insane. So let's see if this leads me where I'm planning on going. Should be interesting. We'll see. So I'll be heading roughly north. And I'm probably sure there'll be some scrambling going on in here. Maybe some scrambling. We'll see. I'm hoping I didn't leave it too early. So I heard this hike's supposed to be class 1. But here we got a dry fall here. Let's see if I can get some good hand and footholds over here. Or am I gonna have to bypass this? All right, let's see. So far, pretty good. So far, pretty good. Let's see. Let me put the camera here for a minute. Forgive the scenery here. This is a class 3 waterfall or dry fall. Alright, sorry that I had to do that. I didn't think there were supposed to be any of those, but not that hard to get over it. Just got to watch your footing. It's class 3, but nothing too bad. Here's another one here. Alright, let's see. Of course, there's a Cholla cactus right next to where I put my arm. Alright. Hoping I didn't leave the trail too early. But I'll see. Alright. See you up the way. Alright. Here's another fan favorite. White sage. Does sometimes show up in the desert too. Salvia apiana. Seeing this near sea level, near the coast, and at 5,700 feet, near a random peak in Mount Laguna. So, this is getting pretty interesting. So far so good. Just kind of scraped myself on a few thorny plants, if you know what I mean. There's a lot of desert apricot in this canyon. I'm believing this is the ascent route. It's pretty easy to follow canyon wash. So if something were to happen and I was like, you know what, I can't, I'm not feeling it, I could always follow this back to the Pacific Crest Trail. So, other than a couple of small class 3 falls, dry falls, so far so good. It's not even really steep yet. Once I get to the ridge, I think is where the really hardcore stuff's going to begin. But yeah, very beautiful canyon here. Some more white sage, beaver tail, prickly pear, cactus. Some more desert almond or desert apricot. I'm not confused those names for some reason. Not a serious bushwhack yet. But eventually, I'm going to end up having to turn northeast to go up the ridge. So I'm hoping, I'm hoping this is the right wash. Ooh, some old desert apricots. Very small. Not like your store-bought apricots. Definitely not like those. But cool to look at nevertheless. So yeah, these desert jujubes, for some reason I thought they were evergreen, but I guess they're winter deciduous as well. Shed their leaves in autumn like the edible jujube does. But so far this wash is followable almost like a trail. Easy to follow. I looked at the imagery, Google Earth, and it looked pretty easy to follow. But then again, sometimes what you see on Google Earth and what you see in front of your eyes might not necessarily be the same. So I'm going to bypass this little bushwhack here with some more cat claw. So yeah, I've scraped my arm a few times already. Once I get to the ridge, hopefully once I get to the ridge, oh boy. Once I get to the ridge, hopefully I'll have a better idea of where I am in relationship to Grapevine Mountain summit. Okay. Looks like we might be getting some more bushwhacking, so I think I might side hill just a little above the gully here. Alright, be careful I don't squish the agaves or stab myself. Because this gully is getting a little more choked up. Vegetation. So, should be probably getting close to 3,000 feet pretty soon. I might be just about there right now. If that's the case, well, depending on how many false summits I have to go through, maybe less than, maybe just over 1,000 feet of climbing left. All right. Well, like I said, I'm just going to try to stick close to the wash as a navigational aid. And I will see you on the next clip. All right. So, I don't know if I'm 100% sure if I left prematurely. Left the PCT prematurely. Not really sure. I thought there were supposed to be, people consider it like a use trail going through here. But it definitely, I mean, I'm pretty sure I'll be able to find my way to the peak. Once I get higher up, I'll be able to figure out where I am. But a lot of trip reports, I don't remember reading about a lot of dry falls. So I wonder if I left prematurely. Pretty sure this is where I'm supposed to leave. But I'll definitely try to geo-reference this. Oh, here's another small dry fall right here. That one might actually be class 2, but I've been kind of side hilling for a while. Just not super far above it, but enough to where I don't get caught in a lot of spiny stuff. So I'm just about back at the wash. What I'm thinking about doing, see, I'm back at the wash now. What I'm thinking about doing is perhaps, I don't know yet, either going up that gully there or trying to go up directly one of these slopes. So this is kind of like where I'm trying to decide what I would like to, which route I'd like to take to get up to that ridge to see if that'll give me a good view of my intended destination. So I'm starting to get closer to where I'm going to have to make a decision whether to go gully or ridge, gully or slope. Yeah, I'm very curious. I can either go ridge, I can either go slope, gully, slope, or ridge line. I know eventually I'm gonna eventually be turning off to the northeast, roughly to the northeast, to get to the peak. So that's why I got to be on the lookout for things I want to, the slopes and directions I want to take. It's not a super bushwhack. You will scrape up on some spiny stuff. That's just, it's desert. You gotta expect that. I could have worn a long sleeve, but I'd be way too warm in that. I am sweating a bit right now. It's not very hot, but it's kind of warm and mild. It's probably in the 60s right now. I don't think it'll get too much warmer than this. But yeah, so far I'm just falling just outside of the wash, and So far, so good. But yeah, eventually, yeah, pretty soon it's gonna be decision time. Gully, open slope, or ridge line. Trying to think what might be easier. Could just slog up that. Yeah, see, it's starting to get very choked in over here. So I'm trying to avoid as much of that as possible. Like I said, this looked like the layout of what I expected. A gully forking one way and a gully forking the other. And the left one, if this is the right one, this is the one that I think that most climbers use to get up to the ridge. So I'm just going to keep going up this portion of the wash a little bit more, and then I'll make a decision as to which way I want to go. Not too worried about getting lost, especially because good old Granite Mountain right there will provide a good visual for me. All right, I'll see you up the way. All right, so as it stands now, I'm going to go through this. I'm going to leave the main wash area. It looks like it continues for a little while. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to get towards the base of that gully and see if that is going to work out in my favor. If not, I can either side hill it or do the open slopes next to it. But I see a relatively open way to get through this without jabbing myself too much. So far, a lot of this stuff is avoidable. Like I said, there are some spots where it is a little testy, if you know what I mean. And it's just going to be me needing to pay attention on the way down. At least I can follow this gully back. It's not too scary. Just a couple of very small dry falls that could be surmounted with some very basic class 3 scrambling skills. Very basic, very easy. The footholds are a little small and the rock is kind of slick, so just be a little careful, but shouldn't prevent anybody with at least average scrambling ability getting over. You might be able to side hill at least one of them. I think you might be able to side hill it, granted with a little bushwhacking, but you might be able to side hill them a little bit. Maybe bypass them. So I'm just going to follow this little slope here. Oh boy. A lot of rocks. So just watch where you're going. And then, probably going to go starting up the gully. All right. So I've been working my way up little by little. And I am just about by this gully here. I'm thinking I might stay on the left side of it. Looks like this might work out for me. Maybe be on the right side might have been slightly better. But so basically came up this gully. Mostly after that point I was side hilling it. Came up here and then went right of a little rock outcropping right there by the bush, and he came up this way here. I guess I'll just continue side hilling this gully for now. It's on the way back. I just got to remember to look for these two mounds here. This one, that one, and that ridge line, just so I know which gully to exit. So I'm hoping I'm heading towards the right ridge line. Probably am, but I'll have to see. All right. So I'm going to keep going up this way. There's a little tricky spot here. And then I'm going to try to pass on the right of that rocky outcropping there. Try to hit for that little notch right there and see what the visual scene is like when I'm up there. All right. Catch you all along the way. Starting to get some good views as we climb up. I believe that's San Felipe Wash down there. And you know, still see a lot of stratus clouds scraping the top, but that's Vulcan Mountain right there. Did that hike just over a month ago. I could kind of see where the grassy area is up near the summit. So that'd be the summit right there of Vulcan Mountain itself, 5,353 feet. Yeah, so that's Vulcan. And that's over towards Julian over there. You can kind of see some of the houses and stuff of the Julian area. So now I'm still mostly doing class 1, but it's a pretty steep angle, class 1. It's a pretty steep angle right there. That's kind of the angle I'm going right now. So again, I'm trying to see if I can bypass those rocks on the right. I'm hoping that'll be a doable feat. It's definitely slow going over here as I anticipated it would be. So I'm glad I made some good time hiking on the PCT. Very gentle incline on the PCT for the most part. Get you to the base of the gully. Again, I'm banking on this being the right gully. So once I pass those rocks, hopefully I'll be able to get a better look. Don't know exactly what elevation I am now, but it's definitely above 3,000 feet. Once I make it to the main ridge line, I'm thinking it'll probably mellow out a bit, as it usually does when you do mountain climbs or mountain hikes. You'll usually, if it's not a really jagged ridge line, that is, usually have a better time there. So, beautiful view down this gully. Very beautiful. So, still going to be angling up. This is probably where my slowest moving speed is going to be to and from my turnaround point. I'm assuming it's going to be Grapevine Mountain, but we'll see. All right, got to focus more on getting up this. Woo! This is a devil. This is a devil climbing up this. Wow. Just about where the gully is, a little bit closer to it than I was before. Basically came up, there's the gully, came up that, and kind of angled a little ways. This one's tough. Here's the rocky outcropping I was trying to bypass right over here. Woo! This is no joke, I'll tell you. I don't know if I came up the right gully or not. But it's not a very hazardous gully. I mean, it's, well, not more hazardous than some of the other ones I saw that were really steep and full of dry falls and rock outcrops. This one's tough. This is a tough climb right here. Some of the soil is kind of loose too, so I guess that's to be expected. Oh boy. So I'm hoping I get up to some lesser angled terrain pretty soon, I'm hoping. Whew. I'll side hill to the gully a little bit more. This is where the gully kind of gets shallower, not as well defined. So it's becoming more of just a slope now. And yeah, the last 10 minutes have been over some pretty loose terrain. This is not going to be fun on the way back. I'll tell you that right now. This is going to be a pain on the way back, I'll tell you. So I'm wondering if I should just angle over here to the side a little bit. Just curious. Well, let's keep going up this and see. Just take it as it comes. Ooh wee! Now I'm on this ridge here. Not gonna lie. That was very steep. Very steep. Coming up this. Now I'm kind of at the lower end of the ridge line. Kind of glad the angle's not as steep. I might find a rock and sit down. Get applesauce, wet my whistle just a little bit. But that was a devil of a climb. Not gonna lie. So I'm gonna go ahead and go up this. This is a lot less steep. That's a very high angle slope. Woo-wee. Oh man, that was no joke. Now I gotta go see what's on top of this. There's another piece of the ridge over there. So I'm hoping this is the right one that'll lead me towards the peak. We'll see how that goes. All right. Wow, that was pretty tough. Some of these rocks are not as stable as you would hope they would be. Had a couple of them spill away from me a little bit. But this is a lot easier now. All right, go up there and see what I can find. See what the views are like up there. All right, so I'm now over at this small plateau here. Some higher terrain over there. So I'm wondering if one of those is peak 3831. I'm wondering. Don't know if I have time to, or even want to ponder going over there. Pretty sure I went up the right one. So I'm going to keep walking along this. About to leave this little plateau area and start climbing again. A lot more open up here. Actually. So I'm going to go ahead and start heading up this way. And we'll see what kind of views I get. Notice what looks like a little faint path. I don't know if this is a game trail or a use trail. I've heard that people saw a semblance of a use trail on portions of this hike. So I'm wondering if this is it. Up until now, PCT was the only trail I hiked. Ooh. Yeah. Looks like there's a really faint path over here. Very faint. Let's see what's on top of this here. So I'm guessing, I don't know if that's going to be a false summit, but Yeah, pretty sure I'm the way I was supposed to go in the first place, because I'm on the ridgeline I need to be on. Again, I keep occasionally seeing little traces of a path. It's probably a game trail, but ever since I got up to this point, walking is just easy, much easier now. It's gaining this ridge that's going to be probably your main challenge. It's making sure you go up the right gully. Alright, so we're going to have a little downhill. Oh boy. Let's see. How severe is it going to be? Can't tell yet. Deeper down it goes, the more climbing I'll have on the way back. So far it's been uphill and occasionally level the whole way. Alright, it doesn't look like it's going to be too big of a dip. So I don't know if this is going to be it or a false summit. I've heard about false summits. And it's not really much of a dip. It's maybe only about 20 feet elevation loss. So on the way back out, this is going to be pretty much a piece of cake. So I'm guessing that over there, not the way in the background part, but in the foreground, that rocky peak there, I believe is peak 3831. I was considering making an attempt at that, but this one's kicked my butt enough so far to kind of make me think, maybe, maybe not. Depends on how much elevation I have to lose to get down there. If I have to lose a ridiculous amount to get up there, then I just might not bother. Alright. Looks like we got some Mueller scrub oak up here now. Quercus cornelius muelleri. Looks like we got some Mueller oak. Yeah, this right here looks like a little pathway or something. It's got to be probably a... This is, I think, a fairly well-traveled ridge on by people and probably animals. So this part of the ridge is just actually a delight to walk on this. So I'm sure people and wildlife probably use this. This is a beautiful ridgeline too. So I'm just gonna dip to this saddle. Something tells me this might be a false peak, but I don't know yet. I'm gonna find out, obviously. But yeah, it looks like another path right here. So I'm just gonna follow this. More than likely, this will probably bypass any more of the insanity. But it's definitely looks like there'll be a few steep inclines up ahead, but I don't think it'll be as bad as the ridgeline. Now we're getting manzanita up here, so we're almost. This is almost transitioning back into chaparral. Yeah, this has got to be big. I think it's big berry manzanita. It looks like Arctostaphylos glauca. The leaves are very smooth and glaucous colored. In other words, grayish green. So I believe that's Arctostaphylos glauca, big berry manzanita. All right. So time to go up over a hill and dale. Hopefully soon to reach the peak. Actually, 3831 looks like it might be doable from here. If I follow, well, maybe if I follow along that way, but I am gonna have to really think about that one. All right, well, for now, I need to get up there. All right, just came over another steep section. Not as bad as that. Not as bad as that canyon though. That was pretty tough. Not gonna lie. That first part here was steep, but definitely more doable. All right. So now, definitely above peak 3831. So elevation-wise, I should be pretty close. Assuming I'll be there relatively soon. It smells good up here too. Alright. So we'll see what that is over there. Alright. Alright. I'll see what that is pretty soon, I guess. What do we got flying over here? Some type of a raptor, I can't tell. Not sure what species that is. I can't tell. It's gliding on those thermals. Yeah, definitely notably higher than peak 38, 31. So again, elevation wise, I don't have that much more to gain unless there's a dip between here and the peak. All right, well, I'll see you when I'm over this rise here. All right, so here in the top of this rise here. Let's see what happens when I get up here. See, this is another false summit or what's going to happen. Well, guessing this is it. This is it. I see a reference marker. Grapevine Mountain. 3,955 feet is the elevation of this peak. There's the reference marker. So pointing this way, should be able to find the actual benchmark. Here's the benchmark. Grapevine Mountain. See here, it says Grapevine. Yep, I was wondering if this rise was going to be it. Here's another triangulation reference marker. So, finally made it. Grapevine Mountain. Very nice. Before I do anything else, probably going to sit down for a few minutes, guzzle down water, trying to conserve water. And there's a summit register right there. So, yep, made it the right way. Beautiful Grapevine Mountain here in Anza-Borrego Desert State Park. So, this is a milestone for me because this is the first peak I have ever climbed in Anza-Borrego Desert State Park. 2 weeks ago, I was looking at having my first over there. It's San Isidro Mountain, 6,147 feet. But the route from Cherry Canyon was cordoned off by private property. That is a very common route to get up there. It's probably one of the shortest and probably the easiest route to get up there. And I kept seeing private property signs everywhere. So I was like, you know what? I'm not going to tempt fate. So I'll be pointing out views and everything in a minute. Just want to sit my butt down. I definitely had to work at getting up here. All right. All right, I guess it's time to start pointing out some features. A lot of cloud cover in some of the surrounding areas, so it might be kind of hard to pinpoint a few things. So I'm going to start off looking towards the south. And I apologize if the wind is kind of irritating. But looking towards roughly the southish, Granite Mountain, another peak here in Anza-Borrego Desert State Park, at 5,633 feet. Then underneath the clouds there, the clouds are just high enough that you can see Monument Peak and Hayes Peak in the Laguna Mountains. And then over this little false summit of granite, I think that's Garnet Peak. Now we're looking towards the south, and I believe those are the Sierra Juarez Mountains, moving into Baja. And then this is a different perspective of Whale Peak, looking more towards the south-southeast, I believe. And that is 5,349 feet. And then we got the Salton Sea. You're probably seeing the Arizona, but I can see the Salton Sea down there. And in there, way off in the distance, that's the southern Santa Rosa Mountains, as we're looking more towards the east and northeast now. Now we're going to swing it around to the north. And I'm not sure what range this is here. To be honest, I can look it up and probably find out. I figure it out. And then we got this off in the distance. We got the San Isidro Mountains coming up near Borrego Springs and Borrego Palm Canyon. And of course, that there is the high point. That's San Isidro Mountain itself. I pointed out previously when I first got up here. And then I believe that's looking over towards Hot Springs Mountain over there, as we're swinging more towards the northwest. Swinging more towards the west. Again, I apologize for the wind. Right over here, we have the Vulcan Mountains over here. The clouds are just high enough to be above them as well. And that's Vulcan Mountain itself at 5,353 feet. Looking more towards the west-southwest, towards Julian. And I can see Stonewall Peak in Cuyamaca Rancho State Park. And that's Cuyamaca itself in the clouds. Some pretty good views. More closely at hand, Peak 3831, which I'm more likely going to omit today. I might just come back just for that one and find a different route to get up there. So yeah, get a pretty good perspective of the area. I really want to get up to San Isidro Mountain over there. But again, I was kind of disappointed that what used to be a sign for BLM land was now all labeled private property, no trespassing. So I turned around in Cherry Canyon and headed back Ranchita, drove through Mountain View. I don't think I'm going to linger too long. I'm going to make some progress because I know it's going to be slow going down the canyon. But here we are on the top here. Looks like we got some interior golden bush right here, some Ericameria linearifolia in seed. And here is the desert or parish bush sunflower. It actually has a flower head on it. This is again Bahiopsis parishii, and it's very common in this area. Very common in this area of Anza-Borrego Desert State Park. So yeah, it's a really cool mountain peak. But yeah, once you get up higher up on this ridge, you actually come across a couple manzanitas. So I'm wondering if there used to be a touch of chaparral up here back in the day. But I think it's going to be time for me to start working on my descent. Again, I'm probably going to omit peak 3831. It is tempting though. It's very tempting, not going to lie. But I think I'm going to pass on that because I'm going to have to try to make sure I'm off of that really crazy slope before it's too late. I do not want to be doing this in the dark. I mean, I got plenty of time, but I don't want to waste a lot of time. All right, well, let's start heading back now. I think we have another species of plant here. I think this is a species of Bernardia. I think this might be Bernardia myristicifolia. This might be Western Bernardia. I think that's what this is here. If it is, this is a member of the Euphorbia spurge family, Euphorbiaceae. I think that's what this is. This looks like it looks like Bernardia myristicifolia, I believe. I'll double check it and cross-reference it with images and everything, but I think this is it. Pretty cool. Another interesting plant found here on the slopes of Grapevine Mountain. I'm down, just about down from the last major steep push, and then I got a little bit of mellow ridge walking before it starts getting crazy again. So we'll see. We'll see how this goes. I keep dislodging pretty here. Alright, well, see you on the next clip. Found another botanical curiosity here on Grapevine Mountain. And I'm surprised. See, sometimes you notice things on the way down that you didn't notice on the way up. So I'm looking at these leafless bushes here. These are called turpentine brooms. And I know I shot some video of this in the Mojave Desert, the slopes of Eastward Mountain. This is only the second time I've ever come across this plant. This is Thamnosma montana. You can see, kind of hard to see the best detail, but you can kind of see the double seed capsules of the fruits. This is a plant in the citrus family, the Rutaceae. It's one of very few amount of species of rue family plants that grow here in Southern California natively. Ornamentally and for orchards, that's a different story with oranges and grapefruits and everything. But this, in the late winter and early spring, depending on the elevation, mostly find this below 5,000 feet. But I've seen it up above 4,000 feet on Eastward Mountain. This plant here will get these little purple tulip-shaped flowers in the spring. And I was able to get some footage of that on the video I did for this turpentine broom. And also did a video set for Eastward Mountain, but I want to do is consolidate that into one full video. I did once, but then the video editors failed on me, so I had to get another one. But yeah, Thamnosma montana is actually my computer. But yeah, so that's called turpentine broom. Guessing it's very aromatic. I'm not sure if this plant has essential oils that can cause phytophotodermatitis like its other cousin, the bush rue, that's found from coast to foothills of San Diego and southern Orange County. That's the neighborhood mostly. I didn't really find a lot of literature about the essential oils of this plant, whether it causes the same skin rash. A comment on my turpentine broom video talking about that being a possibility, but I'm not 100% sure if that plant does the same thing as bushroot does. But just be safe, maybe admire it from a couple feet above it, like I just did. Yeah, it's only the second time I've come across that plant in my life. So if I can get the clips together again and re-edit, it'll re-upload. Instead of doing part 1 of 20 like I did with the Eastward Mountain video set I did a couple years ago, I want to actually turn it into a full-blown, just one video, so it's all coherent. Alright, well, I'm going to keep working on this gentle ridge and enjoy it while I have it. Once I get over that, it's going to start getting insane again. Alright, now it's time for me to plot a descent route. I'm thinking about maybe trying to go down a slightly different way. Maybe edge a little bit more to the north. maybe follow the ridge down a little ways. I don't think it'll take it too far off course. And eventually I will have to probably down climb a gully or two. But I'm going to try to see if I can do something different. Now this return portion, I'm a little bit off from where I came up, because I would have been closer to there coming up the gully. But right here is very botanically beautiful. Got some more Senegali Gregi. Beautiful but very spiky, prickly catclaw acacia. More Agave deserti, already deserti. Gander cholla. Some more of that, what I suspect is Bernardia myrticifolia. And of course, some beautiful California junipers. So I think I'm going to go down a slightly different route. I think I'm going to try a ridge route. I'm sure I'll be able to get down from this. There's another desert juju bee in fall color. So I guess they're deciduous, like they're edible tree relatives from Asia. So I'm going to just follow this down as far as I can go before having to down climb anything. Just want to see if this will be a good descent route. If I can descend to the PCT without a lot of extra difficulty, that would really be cool. So I'm kind of not looking forward to going down that really insane slope. That was a real butt kicker. Let's see. This could add some new scenery to my video as well. So let's see. There's a lot to enjoy here. Beautiful place. Now it's starting to get, the sun's out, so it's starting to get warm. So I'm going to have to be a little bit on extra lookout for potentially running into rattlesnakes. So we'll see how that goes. But I'm going to try not to film as much on the way down so I don't end up having to start another memory card. Going back to white sage. Alright, well, I'll probably just keep it down to short updates and the occasional botanical curiosity as I head down this. Alright, so I'm following this ridge line, came down from there, very gentle, very much gentler here. Still gotta watch your step. Some loose dirt here and some rocks here, and some spiky botanical beauty. Despite getting scratched up a few times, you know, I knew to expect that possibility, and I was down to take the chance. Okay, now I can see the PCT down there. I can see it. So I'm trying to see if I can drop down on this ridge as far as I can go, and see if I can either intercept it, or hopefully, fingers crossed, find a easier descent route. Possible. I'm trying to see if I can keep it open here on the ridge. Man, I can see the Pacific Crest Trail a few hundred feet elevation down from here. I can actually see it, so I could probably intersect it. So I'm on the other side here of that gully and slope I came up. So my ascent gully is on the other side of this fold. So now it's starting to get steeper, so now that's where I'm going to have to kind of watch my step a little bit. But it's a little more easily going here than it was on my ascent route. Oh yeah, here we go, more jojoba or goat nut. Some more Simonsia chinensis up here. You'll see that periodically. We'll see a lot of this here on the open slopes. I expected it to be more of a wash and canyon plant, but yeah, it grows here on the open slopes too. I should say the catclaw acacia. Used to be Acacia Greggy back in the day, but then it was changed to Senegalia. I think the ones here in the New World, I think, are mostly Senegalia species. But yeah, there's a lot more white sage on this route too. Always love seeing this plant. Seen it even in sunny areas of coulter pine, yellow, and even yellow pine forest below 6,000 feet in sunnier portions of it. So this is a very beautiful descent. So it's adding a little bit of flavor to my hike today. So let's see how long the good keeps going. All right, so I'm near that little overlook I was pointing to earlier. Now I'm trying to see what my options are going to be once I get there. I know I saw the PCT down below. I don't see it now, I don't think. I know it was still a little bit down the hill. It was more towards this way, actually. I'm just trying to see what kind of descent I'm looking at when I get to this point of the ridge. Like I said, I'm kind of just testing out this ridge to see if this will be a good decision, or am I going to have to backtrack a little and reassess. So one thing about desert hiking and off-trail hiking here is you kind of have to sometimes pick your own routes. I'm definitely not on that. Pretty sure I'm not on the GPS route anymore that peak bagger users have been hiking to get up here. I'm pretty sure I'm off of it now. Again, not worried about getting lost. Not at all. I'm just trying to concern myself with what kind of descent am I looking at undertaking here. Now, this is where we're going to start getting into some real steep terrain. And then again, I can still see the Pacific Crest Trail still a little bit down below me. So I am still looking at a pretty decent descent no matter where I go. Just trying my luck out here on this ridge over on the side, just to see what my luck would be. I'm really not that far, I don't think, from my ascent gully. I think my ascent gully, I think it was down there. I think it went up that way. I think I'm just a little past it, maybe a little northwest of it or something. But I guess what I'm going to do is I'm just going to follow this down there and then hope to intersect the PCT without any extraneous difficulty. See how this goes. Now we're starting to get more into that steep, high angle terrain again, so I'm going to have to really focus in on what I do. So I'll see you with more updates on the way down this now steepening slope. Yeah, I've been coming down this ridge for a while. Pretty slow going, but it's not super bad. It's a little sketchy in spots, but yeah, the PCT is just down in that gully over there. So I'm thinking should be able to get down to that pretty soon. I'm just going to go down, climb this rock here, I believe. See if I can get a good foothold over here. Yeah, it's a little sketchy. Well, let's see. I'll keep you updated. I'm just going to concentrate on getting around this rock here. Okay, I'm just about on the cusp of another decision-making time. So, see the PCT, not that super far elevation-wise above it now. So what I'm going to do is go to this overlook, kind of see what I'm looking at in terms of hiking to get to the trail. Now, from what I can see here, I think I can go this way. Looks like I can go this way, and I'll be back down there. I'll be back down on the trail very soon, and then I should be going that way. Back to here. So now I just got a few steeper slopes to traverse. Just another steep slope here to traverse. And then I should be able to get down there. Yeah, it's been an amazing hike. Yeah, I came down all the way from up there. I'm trying to remember if I was on this side or the far side of that ridge there. I'm trying to remember. I might have been on the other side. I'll likely find out when I cross-reference the imagery on Google Earth. Should be able to figure this out. The route that I took. So far, we're still doing okay. Route is so far good to getting me back to the PCT. I think I might have a little bit longer of a hike on the PCT, but I'm okay with that. Once I'm back on the trail, I'm not worried about route finding or anything. It's just getting back to Scissors Crossing and on trail. So I'm not really worried about that at all. So I guess I'll start angling down this. See if I can get down this without any major scrambles. And we'll see. PCT is just down there. Alright, time for another update. I'm really close to the PCT. However, there's a stipulation. For me to get there, I'm gonna have to scramble down this. So what I might end up having to do is go down this way. So there is an area here in the way. I'm glad I didn't try to go up that gully. I'd probably have to if I went up this, I'd have to side hill around that. So I'm going to have to find my way down to the gully. Drop out. It's going to be class 3 and class 4. Probably very steep class 3, if not maybe even some class 4. I'm assuming. Can't see that far. So now what I have to do is work my way here. And I can see the sandy wash at the bottom, so getting to the trail from the wash, it's not going to be a problem. And let's see. I can get down to that wash, no problem. I can easily get down there. I mean, I can easily get to the trail from there. And I think I'll be able to get to the wash if I go this way. Just some steep angle dirt and some rocks. But there's something kind of troubling looking over there. I think there's a dry fall down there. Shucks. I'm gonna have to take a look. I might have to go down a dry fall here. Let me see. Let's take a look. I'm almost at it right now. Might have to do some rock scrambling over here. Let me see what it looks like. Oh no, wait a minute though. What about over here? The gully is very narrow. What about over here? Oh boy. Oh. Oh, it's not that bad, I don't think. There's a little drop off there, but... Oh, that was nothing. This is one of those dry fall areas. Oh yeah, this isn't that bad. I could just down this on my feet. Oh, this is not that bad. Really easy. I don't even consider this class 2. All right, just about at the Pacific Crest Trail. Just about to join it in seconds. So, I'm wondering if this is where I left the trail. I think I left the trail and went up this way. I think I'm back at the gully. I think. Interesting. I'm going to take a picture and cross-reference it with my earlier clip. So yeah, as I'm getting ready to finish my hike on the PCT, I'm looking at this thinking, I think this is the gully I went up. Yeah, I looked at this and I said, yikes. But that's actually not as bad as it looks. There's actually an easy rock right there to get up. Really easy. So it's not as scary as it actually looks. And the trail winds its way up this way. And I think this is the canyon. I think this is the gully I went up. I'll have to, like I said, I'll have to double check and cross-reference. Cross-reference my pictures I took over here with my earlier video clips. I think I am about where I went up the gully. Interesting. So I must have come down at a slightly different angle. So I must have been on the ridge I was looking at on my left when I was hiking up. So I must have come down on that ridge that was on my left on my ascent route, because it brought me right to that gulch. So we'll see. That's just a couple miles on the PCT and I'm back. Alright, I'm on the easy, cruisy PCT. I can see my car down there. There's the Scissors Crossing trailhead. Now the other thing is finding a good way to link from the PCT back to the trailhead. That's the thing I'll have to look into to make an easy, more direct and more of an easy linkage between the two, which I think if I go far enough to the south, I could probably link it pretty easily. I think I should be able to link it. Alright, well, yeah, this is definitely this is a good hike. I'm going to keep you updated on the way back. If anything else really interesting happens, and we'll see. Yeah, I'm almost by that little saddle divide right there. It's got a zig and then zag. I think I might go up to this little promontory just to check it out. It looked like there was a use trail going up there. It's not going to really add any severity to the hike, but it'd be kind of cool to get a view from that little promontory there. We'll see how that goes. Absolutely stupendous day. Feels good to be back on trail. But yeah, the descent, I think the descent was slightly easier. It's a little bit long. I felt like the descent was a little longer. It could be just the way if sometimes it feels that descents feel longer than ascents. I've had that before, where if even on an out and back hike, the descent sometimes feels longer because you're kind of tired and you're kind of anxious to get back and sit in the comfort of your car. But I don't know. I don't think my descent route was that super far off my ascent route, but instead of climbing up a gully and a slope, I went down mostly a ridge. So yeah, I think what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna go up to this little promontory and just for the heck of it, because it's there. It interests me. We'll see. All right, so back at this little saddle divide. I'm just gonna go amble up this. Should be a pretty short walk. A little miniature diversion going up this little promontory. Should be a pretty easy walk to get up here. Just because it's here, just because I was interested in checking out a new perspective on the area. There's a little scuffed in path. I guess apparently people come up here sometimes. Why not? Alright. Just about on top of this little promontory. PCT is going to go around this a little bit. All right. Guess I'm on the peak of this one. It's not really a mountain peak, but pretty cool nevertheless. Some good views of this canyon. Very good views. I don't think the PCT goes around this way though. I think it goes around and it starts wiggling down that way, so kind of cool to get up here and check it out for the heck of it. There's Scissors Crossing down there. Now the switchbacks to the PCT I took in up here. Pretty cool little miniature ridgeline, a little extension. Pretty beautiful. I like it. All right. Okay, so left the promontory, back on the PCT. That's where I went up and came down. So now I'm getting closer to the home stretch of this nice, easy trail walk here in the Grapevine Mountain area. So yeah, it's a cool little promontory. It's nice little views up there. Nice perspective. I like the real sheer drop off on the other side of it. Pretty cool. All right, well, I'll update you when I'm closer to the car. Should be back that much later. All right, so I'm nearing the end of my hike. I was I kind of wormed my way up here to get to this area, but I'm going to try to avoid having to do that. It's not that far, but I've actually came across my first set of other hikers, an older couple I just passed about 5 minutes ago. They were coming up as I was coming down. So I guess what I'm going to have to do is somehow get to that there. somehow get to that little wash. I think that's the way those hikers came up. If I get up to this wash here, then it should be pretty smooth sailing without having to book another steep slope walk, even for a short period of time. All right, this is where I'm gonna leave the PCT. That's southbound, northbound. Now I just gotta go through this wash. It's got this little scuffed in path here. I should be back pretty soon. So once you come down that little ramp from the PCT there, looks like we got a good little followable use trail that should lead us back towards the parking area. Probably about 50, 100 yards from it right now, so just about to come to the end of another hike. Should be there pretty soon. All right, just about back at the parking lot. There's a nice little use trail that leads you towards the PCT. No need for all that craziness. Ooh, honey mesquite. Ooh, yeah, Prosopis glandulosa varietariana. So this is just about it for me. I have one more plant I want to take some time to identify before I end this video. So I have a bunch of it right by the car, so I'll go take a look at it and get back to you. So, as I got here to the trailhead this morning, before I started my hike, I've been noticing some golden bushes here. Some Isocoma species. And kind of similar to the coast golden bush, Isocoma menziesii. However, that does not grow past the foothills. It doesn't grow very high up into the mountains. So we do have a species here on the desert side of the mountains. And this is alkali or desert golden bush. This is Isocoma acridania, subspecies Eremophila. This one is divided up into two subspecies that I know of. This one here has the sawtooth edged leaves, very similar to Isocoma menziesii, but even more sawtooth. Very sawtooth leaves, typical seed heads. Late summer into fall, golden rock-colored flower heads. Now, there's another subspecies, and that's Isocoma acridania, subspecies acridania. That one, the leaves are supposed to be entire or smooth-edged. See, these ones, the leaves have teeth on them. So yeah, yet another piece of our botanical awesomeness here in Southern California. So all in all, great hike, beautiful hike, highly recommend. Just be prepared for some route finding. You might want to tailor your routes to what you feel more comfortable, gullies, ridges, whatever, scrambling. They're a little bit of class 2, not much, mostly very steep angle class 1, but you will have to make a few class 2 moves around some rocks. Probably close to 6.5, 7 miles hike. Like I said, I made a narrow loop out of it. I came down a slightly different way, but not very far off from where I ascended. And probably about 17 to 1,800 feet of elevation gain in total. You'll have a little bit on the way back, not much, just a little elevation gain on the way back. So just be prepared, just mostly when you're climbing along the ridge. Well, that's basically going to do it. I'm going to get back on my car, make a little zigzag, and get back on 78 towards Julian. Thanks for watching my hike. Hope you enjoyed this one. It's probably another long one. But I hope you enjoyed watching my journey and my botanical finds on this hike. And see you on the next hike.